British November weather reminds us that it's RAC time again. And beneath York Castle, Minister for Sport, Mr. Neil McFarland, flags away 3 times winner Hannu Mikkola. At number 2 comes Ari Vatanen, making a return to the Rothmans team after a year's absence. And as Markku Alain leaves, Pentti Riikola describes the problems ahead of him.
There's a lot of good drivers, a lot of good cars around, a lot of experienced people. Sport is very, very competitive, and this RAC Rally is the most difficult of all World Championship rallies, mainly because it's a secret rally. You can't practice, so you never know really what's behind the hill or crest, blind. It can be very difficult. Surface can change from slippery mud to very dry, sometimes dry roads, and sometimes you have a snow, sometimes ice, black ice. It's difficult to see it, so it's very difficult rally indeed, and all the tire choices are critical. Often you don't have much time for service, or you have to drive 40 miles flat out without service, and there's many things can happen.
Conditions for the opening stage at Bramham were atrocious. Mikkola ties for fastest with Riikola. At Clumber Park, the rain holds off and Mikkola is fastest again. Vatanen makes a cautious start with his first drive in an Skoda 400. Alain drops a second at Bramham and 4 at Clumber, but stays in touch. Shock news before the start was that Tony Fall had sacked an unenthusiastic world champion Walter Röhrl, who felt he had nothing to prove, and substituted Jockey Kleint in a Skoda number 4. Mouton started steadily at Bramham and then equalled Mikkola's time at Clumber to lie 6th. Last appearance for the Group 2 Talbots led by Stig Blomqvist, who is down in the 20s. Seven, Henry Toivonen, who is also in 7th position, 1 place ahead of Valdegaard in the Toyota Team Europe Celica. Best British hope, Tony Pond, is 4th fastest at Bramham, but slides off at Clumber and drops out of the top 10. Riikola equals Mikkola's fastest time at Bramham.
Yes, we have quicker steering, which helps us to correct my mistakes which I do in driving, which means that if a car is suddenly go oversteering, I can correct it quicker, and it helps a lot. Otherwise, it is basically the same as what it was in Thousand Lakes Rally, and of course we were very pleased about the results in a Thousand Lakes, so there's not much reason to change the specification.
British champion Jimmy McRae makes little impression at this stage of the event, while Salonen is having timing problems due to camshaft trouble on his Datsun Violet. Second Talbot man, Guy Freckler, equalled Blomqvist's time at Clumber, but Eklund is struggling with this tightening right-hander. The fence at Bramham, but misses the Clumber gatepost, where teammate Riikola has spun only a few minutes earlier. Malcolm Wilson is next to fall foul. Then Brooks. Buffum is another. So too is fellow American championship contender Rod Millen.
Turbo through now.
Andy Dawson, probably on his last Datsun drive, escapes with his Datsun Sylvia, as does Leif Asterhag, but only just. He is to go off for good 2 stages on in Sutton Park. Lassie Lampy in a private quattro does some 4-wheel drive ploughing at Bramham, but makes it safely at Clumber. First of the works Skodas from Czechoslovakia. This one driven by Norwegian Jon Haugland. The Russians were back with us with their larders. The team led by Sergei Vukovic, supported by Oku in another of these Pirelli-shod cars. Now to Donington, where Mikkola now has 8 seconds in hand over Alain. Cavey has dropped from 3rd to 4th, but is easily the quickest Brit. Auricola is flying again in 6th, and it's Cavey and Auricola who set the pace at Sutton Park. Pond is still struggling with the conditions, and with another spin at Bewdley is way back in 19th position. He shortly crashes out in the Forest of Dean. Lundqvist has moved up to 11th, and both Talbots are always spectacular. Millen too is going well, and by Bewdley he is up to 13th, equal with Kleint and Freckelin. Saladin retired after an accident in Wales during the night. Already making a surprise impression, Harald de Muth, the German champion. He's 6th, just 1 second behind Cavey and Mouton. Leading Visa driver Alain Coffier, who this year has collected £35,000, was winner of Citroën's International Visa Trophy. Group A cars were seated at the back of the field, which meant that Broad Danielson had to start from 101. He quickly drove through the field and then retired with a blown engine in Wales. Mats Jonsson was impressive from the start in his Group 2 Ascona, whilst Andy Dawson is running late and retires with a broken gearbox. The rest in Dolgefli. Wales and its forests have imposed changes on the order. Pond has crashed out. Auricola has crashed out. Kleint has crashed out. Alain had caught and passed Mikkola, but he too was now experiencing difficulties.
It's been reported you've just been off in the last stage, is that true? What? You've been stuck on the last stage, is that true?
No, yeah, my engine in electric in distributor is something 2 times it broken in last night. After midnight, I lost my lead.
Do they know what the problem is, or are they just working on it?
No, I know, but I know now is everybody working.
Yeah.
You know.
How far are you behind Hannu at the moment?
I don't know, maybe 2-3 minutes, 4 minutes, I don't know.
Marco's Italo-English roughly translated means he was having distributor problems. The Rothmans team are at last getting to grips with the competition despite the loss of pint. Vatanen has moved to second, Toivonen into fourth, and Jim McRae, never an RAC specialist, is 15th. On Mordak, Ari is equal with Mikkola. Mouton is in 5th place, while Toivonen is quickest of all, 4 seconds clear of the field. Alain's engine troubles continue, and he can manage only 17th quickest. Talbot have no time to repair the broken exhaust manifold on Freckela's Sunbeam. Demuth is 6th, behind Mouton. A spectacular Kulang 10th overall. Klukainog was split into 5 stages, and although Mikkola looks incredibly slow through this sticky section, he is only beaten by Lampi and Demuth. Vatanen retires on Klukainog 1 with a blown head gasket, and so the Rothmans challenge is left to Henry Toivonen, who moves ahead of Marco Alain to lie second, 4 minutes behind Mikkola. But for this rear wheel puncture, he would have been a minute nearer. Eklund is sandwiched between the Talbots of Freckela and Blomqvist. Malcolm Wilson, still showing his gatepost scars, has had gearbox problems in the Sutton Quattro and lies 16th. Star British driver by a long way is Russell Brooks, who has driven with determined fury throughout Wales and lies a superb 6th behind 3 Quattros, the Lancia and Toivonen. Incessant gearbox changes erroneously made to cure a sticking clutch have done nothing to quench his fire, which is more than can be said about the weather. 10th place Freckela is still noisy. Whilst Rod Millen struggles with only 2-wheel drive in 21st place, just behind Mike Stewart.
Michelle, are you in trouble? Maybe having anything special done?
I am very well. The car
good.
maybe, but not me.
What's wrong with the car?
The car, we have changed the injection system because it was not working quite all the night and today. And so it's better to change for tomorrow.
Good. So that you're happy, much happier now with the power?
Yeah, I hope so.
What position are you in at the moment?
I don't know, but we are late, because we lost a lot of time.
Anyway,
I don't know. We will see. It's still long.
Long way to go, yes.
Sure.
With a thrash round Alton Park and a second visit to Bramham. Demuth matches Mikkola's fastest time and is now ahead of Mouton and equal with Alain in 3rd place. Toivonen is still second, and sole remaining teammate McRae 12th. Alain is 4 seconds slower on a test which should suit the Lancia and is caught by Demuth. Brooks is still 6th, but losing ground to Mouton. ago, the RAC was dominated by Ford Escorts. This year, the first example started at 39 in the hands of Mike Stewart. But with a top 10 time here, he is now 20th. Frekela is 10th. Chris Lord, leading British Talbot driver, repeating last year's fine run, is 23rd. After a well-earned night's rest in York, the cast reassembles at the racecourse for the Tuesday restart. Mikkola has just under 4 minutes in hand over Toivonen, who is only 34 seconds clear of a determined Alain.
Virrajakaja siitä täysin.
The first stage of the morning is at Croft, where Mikkola extends his lead as Toivonen suffers gearbox problems, which are attended to at the following service. Alain is second quickest here to move to within 25 seconds of Henry. Whilst quickest of all is Demuth, who takes a second off the field. Just a second slower comes Michel Mouton. Brooks continues to fight off Valdegaard, who is now only 20-odd seconds behind. Then come Buffer and Kulan on the same minute in ninth spot. Lassie Lampy is improving all the time with the novelty of four-wheel drive, and on this lap of Croft gets ahead of Kavey to take 14th place, just behind Eklund. One of the longest forest stages of the event is Hamsterley. The famous ford on this stage, which caused so much trouble last year, is over 12 inches deep. Toivonen has braking problems and his challenge fades until help can be got at the Newcastle halt. He's only got rear brakes and has to concede second place to Demuth. This is Quattro country, and Mikkola, Mouton, Demuth and Wilson share the fastest 5 times with Blomqvist. Lampy wasn't far behind, and only Buffum blotted the Audi account by hitting a log pile near the end. Kulang punctures, losing a couple of minutes. And then the Ford nearly stops him dead. On to nearby Witton Castle. A tight one this, and Alain grabs one back. Behind him come Mikkola and Demuth, 1 second adrift. Then Mouton and Johansson, 4 seconds off the pace. The young Swedish star is having a longer RAC than usual and lies 17th behind Malcolm Wilson. On the next second comes Brooks. Eklund Blomqvist. Then Valdegaard and McRae. Buffer displays evidence of the Hampsterley logs, and the car with which he has won the United States Championship again this year now has both sides crunched. The circus moves north to Lambton, the County Durham country seat, now a wildlife park. Mikkeler is once again quickest and now leads Harold Demuth by 5 minutes. Co-driver Arnie Hertz brings us the story.
So far it has been good for us.
You've had no problems?
No problems, no.
No offs, no punctures?
No.
So a very trouble-free rally, very much like...
So far, yes. Yeah.
But you haven't managed to roll it this year?
We haven't planned anything like that for this time.
So how far are you ahead of Henry now?
Nearly 5 minutes.
Nearly 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you've got Kilder ahead of you. How are you going to treat that?
Fast, but not too fast.
Okay, all the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now a night in Kielder in the border country. A night which will end Coulang's rally with a blown clutch. The hitherto highly reliable Colt team is to be without a finisher. But they have displayed an increased turn of speed, and Penty in particular showed that the Turbo Lancer is now a car to be reckoned with. Let's hope we see Mitsubishi back in action next year. The night will also claim Jimmy McRae with a broken half shaft, Lampy with front suspension failure, and Rod Millen following an off. At the Carlisle halt, Malcolm Wilson is beginning to get to grips with his new charge.
You're up to 10. What were your problems earlier on?
We lost about 8 minutes in Wales with the gear linkage snapped, and we had to do 4 stages in third gear only. So we lost a lot of time.
I see, but the car's all right now, is it?
The car's going very well.
And what about Kilder? How bad was that?
Very, very wet.
Usual.
Usual.
Yeah.
During the night, Toivonen has regained second place. Moutin is up to third. Demuth down to fourth, with Elaine and Brooks still fifth and sixth. Into the Lake District, where Mikkeler and Wilson share fastest at Witham. Then Grisdale, where Demuth is fastest. He has to be. A 6 minute off in Greystoke had dropped him to 6th, behind Brooks. Next, Mouton, Blomqvist, and Brooks tying for third, ahead of Elaine. Toivonen and Mikkeler, who can now afford to relax and save his car. The last stage of the day, Harwood Hill Climb near Leeds, and Mikkeler puts in a fastest time again, equal with the little girl from Grass. Michel is now closing on Henry, who has only half a minute in hand after 4 days of rallying. Elaine is cushioned by 3 minute gaps ahead and behind him, but Brooks is under pressure from Demuth with only 30 seconds separating them. Then comes Valdegaard, Blomqvist, Eklund, and Wilson. Of the rest, Louise Aitken and Ellen Morgan are a magnificent 24th, leading their class by 26 minutes. John Buffum catching up after an off in Grisdale. He is 12th, 5 seconds ahead of Nally Johansson. Chris Lord is now 14th. Mike Stewart 15th. A rest in York before the final sting in the tail. 78 miles of the Yorkshire forests in the early hours of Thursday morning. Halfway through this loop brings the cars to the Fox and Rabbit for service.
Assuming that you maintain your lead and you arrive at the finish at York and win the event for the 4th time, will this year's event have been any more difficult than the previous wins?
No, it's always very difficult rally, this one.
Yeah.
Weather is always so terrible.
Yeah. And what about the new format this year? There's been more stages in the dark this year and the event's slightly longer. Has that made any difference?
No, I don't think that rally is automatically better when it's longer, you know. I should prefer old way, how it was old way. The last loop is just for nothing.
Yeah.
We could have done this early already this year.
That's right.
Thanks.
Good morning, Michelle.
Good morning.
How are things going with you?
Quite all right, thank you.
Okay, no problems.
No problem at all, no.
Have you made any of the deficit back on Henry? Have you got any time back on Henry?
Yes, we are now 9 seconds behind him.
9 seconds behind him, so you're confident that you'll be able to get past him in the next few stages?
On the next one.
We will see.
On the next one,
Yeah.
On the next one, we will see. All the very best. Thank you very much, thank you.
Daylight and one more stage. 1.5 laps round Oliver's Mount. Mikkeler is safe enough for his 4th RAC win, but as expected, Mouton has got past Toivonen by dint of turning up the turbo boost for the long Dalby straights. On Langdale, Toivonen took 11 seconds back, but as the stage was cleaned by all the leading crews, it counted for nothing. Mouton took another 10 on Wickham and arrives with 11 seconds in hand. Toivonen, running late following an off after the end of the Langdale stage, makes one last effort to wrest that second place he knows should be his. Michel's time, 3:55. Henry's 3:53, not enough. He must settle for 3rd. Marco Alain has continued steadily in 4th and finishes nearly 6 minutes behind Toivonen. Despite superhuman efforts by Russell Brooks in his outdated car, he has been caught and passed during the night by Harold de Muth, who finishes just 40 seconds clear of Russell, who is having the drive of his career. He may have finished 6th, but with the likes of Valdegaard, Blomqvist, Eklund, Frekkelin and Buffum behind him, that's got to be good. Malcolm Wilson finished 10th. Ahead of Frekkelin, Buffum and Johansson in 13th. Next, Chris Lord, repeating his 1981 result. Mike Stewart, 15th. In the classes, Group A was won by Michael Eriksson and his Audi Coupe, 21st overall. The mid-capacity Group A by Brian Wiggins Astra. Group B, small capacity winner, Alain Copier, Citroën Visa, 23rd overall. Group B, mid-capacity, Louise Aitken, 20th overall. Group 2, up to 1300cc, Gerhard Kafne, Skoda 130RS. Group 2, 1300 to 1600cc, Moskowski, 1.6 Lada. Group 2, 1600 to 2000cc, Mats Jonsson, 16th overall. And so back to York for the end of one of the toughest RACs for years.
Top rally driver, Hannu Mikkola with Arnie Hurt, flying pit with Swede Arnie Hurt, the elusive 4th Lombard RAC Rally win.
And as a gallant loser, Henry cannot resist an amorous assignment in the enemy camp.